Hello everybody and welcome back. I am Mr. JP and the game today is Out of Ore. Big thank you to my subscribers and my viewers, really appreciate all of that. And today we're doing a bit of a loader expo. Going to demonstrate the 500 which I'm sat in right now. Got chain tyres on it, I don't know if they make a difference to grip. If anyone knows, leave it in the comments, let me know. Got my dumper there, a little bit modified paintwork. And then we've got the 501 over the back with the tooth bucket, and we're just going to quickly sort of load up the dumper a couple of times with the two different loaders and just see what the difference is. I've already done one little comparison for myself before filming, and I've satisfied myself that the buckets are similar sizes, very similar. It's just that getting the 501's bucket to full load can be a little bit of a challenge. Your technique is very important, and we'll go into that a little right now as I'm digging. It's not about speed, firstly. The gear locking first can be very useful with the loaders when you're pushing in to fill the bucket. And it also means that you don't go hurtling in, cut a huge trench, and end up in the angle and rolling your loader. And yeah, it gets horrendous sometimes. Sometimes when you're digging holes, you just have to stop, smooth the bottom out so the front wheels of the loader are on a level surface. Because if you're not level to start with and you cut in, that angle of incidence will just increase as you dig in. And that's what's actually happened here on the start on the left side of this hole. So being level using the GPS can be kind of useful. I haven't got it set up on this one at the moment because I don't like the position of it. I might make a suggestion in a minute on the Discord that they move where the GPS and the drill comes up so that it's in the top left. Putting things mid-mounted in HUDs is a bad move because it's right in the middle of your viewpoint. Anyone who does it is either not playing the game they've built or has very little experience in using a HUD. I can't really go into something I used to do, but I used to use some heads-up display systems, and I gotta say the best ones that I've ever used were mounted inside my helmet and displayed to the front screen of the helmet, very much like the modern F-35, F-22 and Apache systems do, well, specifically the Apache Longbow. And yeah, anything mid-mounted in the HUD in your viewpoint on the left and right horizon is a pain in the butt because it limits how far you can see. It's got to go top or bottom. All of our screens used to be in the top and bottom of our eye line. We used to have to look up or down to look at them, and that activated some other bits of equipment. It was all prototyping and testing. You'll never see what I used on the streets. It will never come out in public. But a lot of the technologies we're seeing now are based on the work we did back in the early noughties. So it's kind of nice to see. I kind of wish I had a copyright on it. So, but yeah, I'll be pointing that one out to the developers. It'd be nice if we could move it around. Like if anyone knows how to move it, or if there's a quick key to just hide that GPS and drill menu, let me know. Currently I just sort of take the GPS pole off my vehicle and put it back on afterwards. Have it sat in your inventory. That way you only need one and you can just jump around vehicles with it. So yeah, correct loader technique. One, bucket position. You don't want it fully down. You want it a little bit up from fully down. It's like the fully down position locks. There's like a temporary against fill lock, if that makes sense. So you put it down, get it fairly level, start driving in. Angle the front down slowly till it just starts to cut if you want to cut downhill. If you're cutting uphill, you might want it level or up. Get it in until it starts to build up. See it's starting to build up and flow in. Gently tilt the bucket backwards now without raising. Maybe raise it very gentle in a little sort of way. Scoop up. Press B to load the lock, or lock the load. Sometimes I give it a little tip off like that, just to make sure that any loose bits don't end up in my route of carriage, being tidy. Can save you a bit of time on smoothing, takes a little longer obviously for loading, so it's all a trade-off. But yeah, so getting the bucket full on this one is relatively easy. It loads very nicely. The one thing I would say about the loaders is that where the bucket cuts could do with coming back just a little bit more, so that as you're generating the rocks, they actually go in the bucket instead of dropping down in front of it, going under it and lifting the front of the loader. That's just a little thing. Alright, so that's kind of full. It takes about 4 buckets to fill a dumper truck. Let's go and park this over here. The gearbox has changed speeds for changing down, changing up. Need a little bit of work, but a lot of people are moaning about it. I don't mind. They're industrial vehicles, and they weren't exactly made for performance. Tractor, not, you know, these are tractors. They're designed to push. But I would be very interested to know whether different tyres and track widths specifically on the tractor vehicles make any difference to handling and your torque and your ground friction for pushing. Whether they make any difference on the actual width tread of the vehicle as well, because with wider tracks, if something goes under your track, it's a lot more unstable, whereas with narrow ones, there's a good chance that one of those balls won't be under it. So, yeah, be interesting to see. Or to find out about. I really must get more involved on the Discord, since I got name dropped the other day. So yeah, I'm just tipping all the waste out that hole, sort of the pay dirt, stuff that doesn't have much coal in it. It's not worth running out to the top there. So I'm just going to dump it down here for a little bit of surge pile, fun. Pretty much I'm going to bulldoze that pile into those hoppers to see how long the machines run for. I've had machines up to 2,500% of contents. I've heard they go as far as 5,000, so it'd be interesting to see how long it takes to run out a machine that's filled like that. So yeah, now we'll go into the hole with 500. You'll notice that I'm sort of ignoring the rich stuff, the coal. To be honest, coal and stone that's gone through both crushers are about the same price per dumper load, it would appear. A full concentrated dumper load of coal is worth more, but as a general rule, coal could be considered the backbone of your earnings. If you wanted to roleplay game it, you could say I'm a coal miner and only mold coal seams. You go on the lithium loadout, or you could deliberately hunt the platinum. You know, deliberately finding specific resources might be a way to invent a sort of gameplay mode for yourself. So yeah, this is 501, very similar loader. It's on the same chassis. Sorry, this is 500. My bad. But yeah, similar loader, same kind of chassis. See what I mean about the angles under those front wheels. And it is the front wheels, it appears to be fairly dependent on the bucket angle. So we'll try from the top here. So yeah, very similar action to using this. Gets you very similar results. But because of that curved blade, you see it's better at cutting angles in. So we're well angling over in the bottom here, and but yeah, so we stick the blade in, angle it upwards, push forward, up, V. And you can see the load lock isn't as effective on this bucket. It only extends to about the edge of the outermost teeth. The middle teeth don't appear to actually have it. Maybe they're not inside the load lock bubble. I don't know how it works. I'm not a programmer. I did a bit of microprocessors and stuff, but when it comes to computers, I'm better at building them than I am at like writing software. I'm sure I could get it. It just needs someone to explain it in a way I get. A bit like maths. I was terrible at maths in school, went to college, got a new tutor, and within 6 months I was doing maths at like university level. Integral, differential calculus, J notation, you name it. All the crazy stuff that goes with electronics, and I was fine. So just goes to show that the mainstream teaching system has its flaws. Big style. So yeah, I mean, 501 loader, straight in. Let's see if I can keep it a bit more level this time. Got a bit more of a level, back out a bit, get in again. Sometimes it helps to just oscillate in gently backwards and forwards. Likewise, turning the load lock off and on as you're gently elevating it can shape the load down into the bucket a bit better. Kind of useful when all the stuff's still on top of it, but engaging load lock when you're right in the pile can result in coming out with a bucket that looks like a cat that got in the polystyrene balls. It's just glued all over the outside of it, like that piece on the right hand side of mine at the moment, but they're underneath it, they're everywhere. It's a pest to unload. And in fact, loading dumpers is harder in the 501 than the 500. Those teeth on the front there, they catch the load, and as you can see when you come in, you can nearly overextend and go over a small dumper with it. So it's not as good a loader as the 500. The 500 is definitely the loader, but I think this is the better excavator, if that makes sense. I had a quick read, but I didn't get too far into it on the JCB website. But essentially, the buckets make the difference. It's the same chassis, and they've got this bucket style, and they call it a front excavator, which is interesting because it is technically basically an excavator bucket. So I can see where they're coming from on that. But I've also seen a version of these that's got a bucket that's more like a dozer blade, in the fact that it feeds the other way and it's for nudging stuff around, and that's a front dozer. So there are quite a few varieties of these vehicles. I would like to see some more in game, and I'm sure there will be. Sorry, I'm just battering that edge out to see whether I can get a bit more of a level cut in on this angle, but I don't think I can. So yeah, as I was saying, it's about 4 bucket loads from the 500, and 501's about the same. This one rakes better. You see, as I dug the teeth in and went down the slope there, you can kind of rake better with this. So get in and just do that, and acts like a rake, digs a load of material down for you. Back raking seems to be more effective with it as well. This is generally, I think, your terraformer more than a loader, because it is eating material down here and deleting material like crazy. And I haven't got any other dumpers loaded up, or hoppers, or there's no other particles in the map, so this one is definitely the digger. Which is why I didn't go through the edge of the coal seam with it. Not for rich stuff, I guess would be the way of putting this. Not for rich stuff, but it does make a reasonable dozer as long as you're careful with how you're using it and stuff. So I spend most of my time with the 500. I've got to admit, I prefer the 500. In one of my earlier games, I actually got rid of the 501 completely. I've only kept it here because I'm going to want a second loader down on the bottom of this pile when I start running it, to sort of move the waste material around and that kind of thing. It sounds a bit crazy, we've got conveyors, but practicing a little bit of out in the sticks mining for when I start moving around and heading out and building temporary machines in other places and that kind of thing. Yeah, this hole definitely needs work. I might start a different attack route into it. Okay, just digging, pretty much just getting a little bit more space there. Try and put a bit more fill in the bottom of the hole. Because those edge bits, it's best to clear them. If you don't clear them up to the height of your loader, you'll start knocking them off as you come in and out of the pile and stuff, and you get lumps everywhere. And you'll see a lot of people complaining about the loaders and working underground and how they knock chunks out the roof. Well guys, stop thinking small and build your tunnels big enough. And stop running around with your bucket at the full height as well. I mean, geez. Like, it's how you use it. I see a lot of people moaning about stuff on like Steam and Discord, and I'm like, dudes, that's your problem, deal. That's how you game, not the game. I see a lot of people trying to suggest things for games that basically make it easier or harder for them because they lack the ability to set their own challenges. I mean, this game, people are saying, oh, is there a mode where you can turn off the load lock? We want a hardcore mode. Guys, it's been out like a month and a half. Hardcore mode? You haven't even explored the game yet. So yeah, as I say, I prefer the other loader to this. You can see I'm digging away in this hole, I'm demolishing loads of gear, and I'm getting pretty much nowhere. So for me, loader versus loader, it's the 500 all the way. Once you get into the stone and stuff, you've got to rip it anyway, dig into it with the 501 too. But the 501 does work its way into stone with its teeth against the cliff very well, and then you can gather up what falls to the bottom. But it does appear to damage and destroy a lot more material than the 500, so Yeah. The 300, like the smaller loaders, they're great for working in small places. They don't. I don't know if they reach the big dumper. I haven't actually tried them. But I work on the theory that I'm working away here digging a hole. I don't want to be digging, forever. So therefore, I probably want to be using bigger loaders. It's a matter of 4 or 6 loads to fill the dumper, right? So for sheer workflow and cycle times, these guys are the things that you're going to want, basically. You can see it's not generating ROMs when it goes through that and comes up. It's being a bit of a pest, really. I don't like it for this kind of thing, but for ripping open overburden and getting into seams is probably the tool for it, or for setting up areas for the dozer to start working. So yeah, I think this one goes under the heading of ground prep machine, whilst the 501 is the loader of loaders. It's just the better machine, I think, personally. So I'm going to back this one around here anyway and park it up for the moment. This is where it's going to be working. I'm going to work my way into that lithium seam next. It's going to provide me with a load of overburden. And for my road build up the top to get to the next lithium seam. It's all about the lithium seams today. So in conclusion, for my loader face-off, the 500 is the winner. The 501 rather is the winner, and the 500 is second for loading dumpers. For digging, the 500 is better, and the 501 isn't so hot. But to be fair, once you've got the knack with the 501 and the soft stuff, it doesn't make a difference. It's only when you get down into the hard pay dirt. And the pay dirt seems to have different textural strengths to it. I don't know if that's true or I'm just being awkward, but bits of it seem softer or harder than others. So yeah, this game's got a lot more variety in it than when it comes to pay dirt and the materials involved in the map than, say, as an example, Gold Rush. I can't think of any other mining game off the top of my head that's really big that everyone would know. So yeah, look at the size of the map. It's about what you do with it. I've seen people talking about new maps. I've seen the developers saying that he's considering other maps and stuff. But currently, I honestly think we should upgrade this map. Maybe north, south, east and west of the current communications towers. Go out another 5 kilometers and put in a sail point beyond each one, so that people can start spreading out and stuff. I don't know how big the map is, to be fair. Maybe 2.5 kilometers might be a better number. But yeah, some alternative sale points, perhaps dedicated to certain resources. So a lithium factory, a coal factory, say a coal factory. I guess a power plant would be the right term for a coal factory. Don't really want places like mines that produce the materials and just put them into your dumper, because that's not what the game's about. If you want to haul loads, then yeah, I can think of some better games. One of them being NMC's Prime Killer, the Farm Sim series, which I really enjoy. Really must do some videos about that. Though it's been done to death by other people. But it's another one in the YouTube channel. And the channel isn't really about subscribers and hits and getting popular and making money. I don't make anything out of it. This is just my gaming and fun. But it's more like a CV of my gaming. I've got to change careers, and so I'd quite like to be a games tester and analysis guy. Comes up, an ideas guy. I'd like to learn some programming. But we'll get around to that in time. We'll get around to that. So yeah, basic conclusions. This is the loader I love, the 501. The 500's okay. And yeah, the game was out of ore. I'm Mr. JP. Thank you for watching, and I hope you find this useful. Have a great day. Goodbye for now.